Hello and welcome to another episode of Garden to Table with Rose. It's the beginning of July and I am going to do a garden tour. And now is a good time because things are in full growth mode and I'm about to come out and harvest a bunch of stuff. I got a bunch of leafy greens that are pretty mature. So I'm about to take a bunch of things out, do some fertilizing spray because I haven't been able to do that in a couple of weeks, it seems, because of the rain. It's been raining here. It seems like for 2 weeks, but it wasn't dry enough to spray. The rain would have just washed it all off. So I'm going to do that this weekend and also put some straw down just because I have bales and bales of straw. So I'm going to put some on my rows. Planted rows to kind of help retain moisture, I guess, if I can. So this video may be long. I may have to break this one into 2 parts because there is so much here in my little garden space and I want to take a look at as much of it as we can. Ooh, the bees. It's a bee, which is a good sign, but yeah, I don't want to get stung. Alright, so I'm starting here in my berry. This is my berry garden, I call it. This first little plant sitting here is a marshmallow plant, and it's a medicinal plant. It was at one time, I think, used to make marshmallows, some portion of it, some concoction they made from it. But I cannot tell you the uses of all these medicinal plants because I'm just learning. But I know I planted this one because it had some medicinal uses, and I think it had something probably to do with respiratory illnesses. Maybe like helping to get rid of mucus and phlegm and stuff like that. So I have maybe a second one coming up over there. That one was slow growing. Some of these things have been very slow to grow. They've been out here for months. They're still like tiny. Other things didn't make it. Other things are growing prolifically, like this parsley. This is a parsley. Let me see what kind. I think it's just a curly parsley. Moss curled parsley. So that's just a curly parsley. It's just a different type of parsley. And it's getting really hot, so I don't think parsley likes hot weather. That's a barrage. At least I can identify those. I'm learning to identify the plants as time goes on. There's chives back there. They're still pretty small. Let's see. Over here I have a lingonberry. I have 2 of those. And at first it looked like they were going to die off because you see how small they are and a lot of it had turned brown. But now they got some green growth coming, so they're bouncing back, I guess. And then, let's see if I can get this row. I have a English lavender here, small one. Hopefully it survives. Lavender is very fickle, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. More barrage. I planted a lot of barrage because it's a pollinator one. It has these blue flowers that bees and stuff seem to like. It's also edible. I have not tried to eat it. It's kind of fuzzy, the leaves and the flowers, so it doesn't look appealing, so I'm not going to eat it. And then this, what is this? This is Echinacea. So I'm looking forward to that. As you know, Echinacea is used for colds and stuff like that. So, and with these medicinal herbs, my goal is to harvest them and dry everything and just put them in my apothecary. And I usually put these things in mason jars. And I put in one of those freshness packs, those things that absorb moisture. So I have some of those and I usually just put them all in there and use them as I need be. Alright, this is a citrus plant. This is, what is it? It's either orange or lemon. This is a lemon, Meyer lemon. And as you can see, it has some little flowers on it. It's starting to flower. So with the citrus plants, I will be taking those inside for the winter, obviously, because this is Michigan, Zone 6A, Kalamazoo. So yeah, they can't stay outside. These will go inside for the winter. That's why I put them in pots, so I can move them. I have 2 lemon little lemon trees, and I have a little miniature orange tree, which is supposed to be a tart orange, kind of like a lemon. So I was planning to make some like orangeade with it. That, of course, is a strawberry plant. And my strawberries, I did not pick the flowers off this first year. I just let it go because I have so many strawberry plants. And I have been able to harvest a handful of strawberries, you know, every week. So, and they're tasty. They're tiny though. They're nothing like the ones in the grocery store, obviously. But they are tasty, sweet. And the one thing I notice about the ones that I pick for my garden is that they really have a lot of red coloring in them, and it actually stains your fingers. Kind of like a blueberry would. It actually stains your fingers red. So I found that interesting because that never happens when I buy store-bought strawberries. Anyway, this is a potato plant. And this one is really interesting actually because this potato plant is called clancy. And I grew it from seeds. And I think it's the only potato that comes in seed packets. And I think they got it from Botanical Interest. So I've ordered several times from them seeds, and I really like that company. They're not too expensive. They have, you know, great seeds. So it's one that I tend to shop at. That along with Baker Creek and sometimes Burpee, because Burpee usually has good coupon deals. And there are some things that, like plants, seedlings, that Burpee won't have and the other seed companies won't necessarily have. So my onions and garlic were an epic fail. I don't know what I did wrong with the garlic. I planted the bulbs in fall. I ordered, you know, bulb garlic, seed garlic, planting garlic. Planted it in the fall like you were supposed to. I mulched it heavily. I put it in these huge bags, and I left it out in one of the garden beds to overwinter. And so it was pretty well protected. And, you know, it was in a fenced area. My yard is fenced. So there weren't a lot of elements necessarily getting to it other than snow on top of it. And they all rotted. They did not grow. All my garlic rotted. So I was really disappointed because I really like garlic. And garlic stores well. The hardneck variety anyway. So there's another bee. Lots of bees. See if you can see that. There's a little bee there. Bees are a good thing. Anyway, so I do not know what I did wrong. It definitely drained well because these bags are very porous and they do drain well. So I don't know if they just got too cold in the winter. So anyway, I dug all the garlic bulbs out and I throw them away. And this fall, what I will do is I think I'll do the same procedure, but I will put them in my shed to store over the winter. So they're a little bit more protected and see if that helps. So that was a fail. My onions were a fail, mostly because I grew seedlings from seed for all the onions, but I think I put them out a little bit too soon. I think the cold just took them out. So, you know, life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. So what I did, I was shopping at my home store, my local home store in the garden center, and they happened to have onion sets, like the little bulb onions, on clearance because obviously it was the season was underway, so most people had planted their onions. They were trying to get rid of them. So these things were like $2 for a bag of like 50 seed onions, and I was like, well, it's worth it. It's $2, so I will plant those and see if I can get something. Even if they're tiny onions, anything is better than nothing for the season. So I bought several kinds. I bought white onions, red, I think there was a yellow sweet onion, and I've planted them in one in the bag where the garlic was, and the other two I just got totes. And I think I showed that in one of my videos where you kind of just get a big tote, plastic tote, cheap, $5, drill holes in the bottom for drainage, and use that as a planting container. So, and look at them. So these are the bulb onions I planted probably a month ago. I'll give it a month. It might not even been a whole month. It may have been just like 2 or 3 weeks ago. but not too long ago I planted those, and look, they're all sprouting up. I just packed them in because I have 50. I didn't even use them all, but I'm pretty impressed. Even if I don't get big onion bulbs, I have I have green onions for sure. All right, let's move it along. This is, what is this? I have to read the signs. I can't identify all this stuff. Aronia Berry. And an Aronia Berry, I found this online. It's supposed to be, kind of similar to an elderberry, but it has a higher nutritional content. So it's supposed to be having even more vitamins than the elderberry. So I'm excited. I got 2 of those here. This tropical looking plant, it's very pretty. What is it? Lemon verbena. Verbena. So what am I going to do with lemon verbena? I do not know. It's another medicinal kind of thing. I think pretty much it has a lemony flavor. I'm going to use the lemon verbena probably to flavor teas. I can't really think of anything else to use it for. So the lemon verbena, the only thing I can think to do with it is dry it and use it in teas or something like that. Some kind of herbal blend. If you have any ideas of things you can do with these different plants, leave it in the comment section, because I do not know. And I'm growing a lot of things that I've never actually used before. So this is fun. And this here is Jostaberry bush. This is a bare root, I think, when I got it. So it's leafed out. And the thing, and all my bare root plants, except for the ones that I got from that Willis Orchards I mentioned before. But all the others have leafed out now. They're looking green and lush, which is a good sign. Over here, I still have some lettuce, some Bib lettuce. I'm going to harvest that today. Put it in the fridge. I also planted this, let me show you this. Salad burnet is what that's called. And it almost looks like parsley, but it's a little salad leaf. It's very tiny. It grows fairly easily according to the packets and the online ads for it. But I didn't find it grew that fast. Mine grew pretty slowly. And it being a salad green, I planted it in the cool weather like you're supposed to. But it grew very slowly. But it survived. And honestly, that's something I would never grow again. It really didn't add anything to a salad. You have to pick the little tiny leaves off of those stems, and that's tedious. And then it really didn't add much flavor or anything to my salads. Yeah, it was just nothing worthwhile to grow. I have several hibiscus plants here, or rosetta, and the 2 big ones I planted a while ago. These 3 little ones I just got. They were late shipping from Burpee. Actually, they should have shipped these a month ago, but I guess they were back ordered. So I just got them and I planted those. So hopefully they'll have time to mature, and I'll harvest a bunch of hibiscus and, dry the flowers to make teas or whatever I want to make with that. Over here, these are probably all turnips. Yeah. So these are turnips. They're looking bushy and green. I'm going to probably wait till the greens die back, turn yellow, start to die from my root vegetables, just because they'll probably be pretty large then, and I really can't eat all this stuff now. So the root vegetables I was planning to store over the winter. They tend to last for several months in storage, so that's my plan for those. And you can see all the holes in my leaves. Oh gosh, now I got a shadow. And that's pretty much from these insects and critters out here that I haven't had a chance to spray for. That's why I'm spraying today, because they can decimate your plant. And then if your plant has no leaves, it can't really, do the photosynthesis thing and grow. So, I have to get rid of them, bottom line. This is another potato plant. I'm not sure what type, but it is bushy and healthy. I have a couple empty spots, like this little bag is empty. I probably had garlic or something, or onions there that died off. So I'll come out and plant a whole nother batch of things that hopefully mature in cooler weather. So probably some kind of cabbage or some kind of root vegetable in there. This is my, what is this? Key lime. Oh, I forgot I had a lime too. Key lime little tree, and it has flowers all over it. My pink variegated lemon, I don't know. Some of the leaves are looking sad. I've pulled some off. It's still green, but it's not looking as healthy as the lemon, the other lemon and lime plant. So I'm going to try to fertilize that and see if I can bring it back. These are leeks, and I don't know what's happening here. They look a hot mess. No, shallots. These are shallots, I'm sorry. So, you know, little onions, but shallots tend to be a little bit sweeter than regular onions. So we'll see what happens with that. This is beets. I can tell beet leaves. And you know, a lot of these, the leaves are edible, but I'm not going to eat them because I already have so many leafy greens that I'm growing in addition to the root vegetables, so I don't need them. Plus the bugs have started eating hoes and noise, but a lot of the root vegetable, you can eat the turnip leaves, turnip greens, and the beet greens. Beet greens are really good. They're tender. They kind of cook up like spinach or Swiss chard. I like those quite a bit, but I'm not going to eat those. This, I believe, is lemon balm. It would have to be. And then I have here, this looks like another either Aronia Berry or Lingonberry. Oh, Aronia Berry. Yep, that one. It's doing well. This is a, this looks like a goose. Is this a gooseberry or just berry? Let's see. Oh, just berry. This is the second Gooseberry. You know, you have to plant these things in twos, as I've said before. This one right here, I believe, is Echinacea. No, Chamomile. Is it Chamomile? Let's see if I got it right. I got my phone in one hand. German Chamomile. So, oh, wait, put my phone down. So that's Chamomile, which is another medicinal herb that I, you know, because I am new to this and I don't know a whole lot about plants in terms of identifying them and all that good stuff. I labeled everything, but unfortunately some of the things I labeled with, I used popsicle sticks, and I must not have used a garden pen. I thought I had, but apparently I didn't because the ink like faded in the sun, so I really don't know what they are. So I will just wait till they mature, and then either I'll be able to tell what they are, or I got this wonderful app, and I paid for the subscription version. They had a free trial, I think, for 7 days. And I paid for it because it is amazing. And I think there are a couple of apps like this. What is this one called? Let me see. I think there are a couple like this. This one's called Picture This. And basically, they will identify your plants for you. So this is something I need. It's $20 a year, I believe. I may not need it more than a year or two, but until I learn these plants on my own, it's very helpful. You literally just take a picture of the plant. It tells you what it is, and then it'll keep track of the ones that are in your garden if you'd like it to. Also, it will tell you weeds. That was a big thing with me. I couldn't a lot of times tell if something was the beginnings of a plant or a weed. And so there are lots of things I pulled out probably that were seedlings, and there are lots of things that I left there and let grow thinking they're flowers and found out later they were weeds. So that app is really helpful. It tells me all of that. It also can spot diseases. It, you know, so you can take a picture of a damaged plant or whatever, and it will diagnose it and tell you what disease it probably has. So that has been helpful. You know, for a new gardener, it's invaluable. I would recommend it. More potato plants, which are flowering. There are potato plants there, and that one's so pretty. That one actually has pink flowers. All the other potato plants I have white flowers. You can see that. It's pink flowers, but it's bushy and pretty. So hopefully I get a lot of potatoes. This right here looks like celery. Shoe. What is it? Sign in there. Parsnips. It looks bushy and happy. Hopefully I get a lot of those. I really like parsnips. They're like carrots, kinda. They're sweet. They're really good. I roast them. So these are gooseberries. I do know that. I don't know if you can see it. That's a gooseberry. This is a gooseberry. I think I got white gooseberries for the most part. They're supposed to be sweeter than the dark ones. It's a big old barrage here. And also I stuck in herbs and different just extra plants I had. I was sticking them everywhere that I could. This is, there's a little basil plant down there. I love basil. I'm planning to make some pesto since I have grown it in several spots. There's a sweet potato plant thrown in there. Over here, I have, oh, what is this? This is pot marigold. Pot marigold is popping up here. It doesn't have flowers, they're so tiny. But I also have currants. I ordered white currants and champagne currants, so there's a couple of, I don't know how many, but I got some currant plants out here. The pot marigold. And there's a nasturtium there, which is not doing very well. It's very tiny. And the problem with the tiny ones is that bugs, they're more susceptible to damage by bugs. And the bugs love eating the leaves of flowers and vegetables, it seems. They don't mess with herbs as much. So herbs are a good deterrent. Plant herbs next to your delicate things. It helps. They don't like them. They don't bother them too much, like this purple sage, which is big and bushy and doing well. Here is a, looks like a blueberry bush. Look, it has little berries on it. But yeah, and then there's another berry bush in front. I have a bunch of cosmos here for pollinators. Let's see. Oh, trying to operate a camera with one hand and the phone with the other hand. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this, but basically there's a, it uses your camera. You take a picture of the plant and then it tells you what it is. Okay, that was oregano. So at least that one's an herb. Oregano. Awesome. So you see how wonderful this app is? Because I wouldn't know. I'd be guessing. I threw in, I think, a bunch of cucumbers over here in empty spots because my seedlings died. I've been having a hard time with certain seedlings, let me tell you. But for whatever reason they died. So I was throwing seeds all over the place. And literally I just threw seeds. Or either I had extra seedlings. So I think most of these are cucumbers. There could be some squash over here. I'm not sure. I did not think they would really grow because this area is really acidic. I added a soil acidifier because I was planting berries here. And berries like acidic soil. So pH of less than 7. Usually berries like a 6. Somewhere in there, I believe. So, but they did grow in spite of the soil being acidic because I don't think cucumbers like acidic soil. So I'm excited about that. I have a little trellis here for them, and there's some down there too. So I have 2 little A-frame trellises for them to grow up. There's sweet potatoes here. This is a row full of bags. If you can't see it, let me pan it. All grow bags, and I have my drip line going through all of them. Basically this one's sweet potatoes. See, this is, oh shoot, this was a different vegetable that I've never had, salsify. And I assume that's the salsify and not weeds. Let me use my little app. I don't know, for all I know the seeds didn't grow and the dang on weeds might have taken over. Uh-oh. This is saying it might be a weed. But then it's saying lemongrass. So it gives you several options and it's saying garlic. Oh my god. Too funny. So even the app can't really tell me what this is. It gives me some options. So what I'm going to do is just wait until it dies back and pull it out and see if I get anything. So salsify. It's supposed to be kind of like a parsnip, but for whatever reason it's not very popular. I thought I'd try it because I like parsnips so much. Another strawberry plant. Carrots. I got 2 big bags of carrots and they're looking pretty stalky. Actually, they're growing some. I don't know how this happens, but carrots apparently, if you leave them there, they actually can reproduce or come back. So they must drop seeds or something. But from regular carrots that I have planted here last year when I put in a few things, when I first dug up the beds, I ended up with wild carrots in my garden. Wild carrots, which I never even heard of, but you don't need to eat them. They were, well, the roots were very, very tiny, so it wasn't edible. It was just a big carrot-like stalk. So I pull those out, but there's a couple of really tall, stalky looking things here, and I don't know if that's a wild carrot or a regular carrot, but this bag in general has a bunch of carrots. I have 2 of those. More sweet potatoes, more sweet potatoes. I planted a lot of sweet potatoes. If you can see this, all of these totes containers, there's like 4 of them, 18-gallon totes, and they're full of sweet potatoes. I think I got like 4 different kinds. So I like sweet potatoes, and they store very well. All right, another strawberry, and in the middle of that I planted something, I'm not sure, some kind of herb maybe, or mint. It might be mint. Let me see. My little app can tell me what that is. Yep, spearmint. Yay! It works. All right. So there's mint in the middle of the strawberries just because I wanted to throw something at the top that would be pretty. This is a fig tree, Italian honey fig, right here, which is looking beautiful and green and lush. These have to overwinter inside as well. My sage plant. This is impressive, at least to me. This is a sage plant that I have had for years. I had it in a pot on my deck before I even had a big garden. Then when I first dug up my garden beds, I put it in the ground. I transplanted it. Then I took it out this season and trimmed it down and brought it over here to this side. And look how big it is. I mean, sage, it's amazing. That stuff is resilient. So it's huge. And what I probably will do is have to divide it up because I don't want a whole row of sage. I can't eat that much sage. I like it, but goodness. There's more either cucumbers. Looks like cucumbers here. And then blueberry, 2 blueberry bushes. I got a big sunflower here in the back. Just because sunflowers are so pretty and they're super tall, so they make a statement. There's another big sunflower here that looks like it's about to flower. So there's cosmos here. And then I have 2 little, what are those? Are those blueberries? 2 little blueberry bushes. I have some English thyme. There's my thyme. And let's keep moving. More either squash or cucumbers on these. Okay. So I had a fencing here that I removed. Let me stand on this side so you can see this better. This camera tends to cut off whenever it feels like it. So I'm talking away and don't necessarily notice that it is cut off. But anyway, let me go back. Now we're in the berry patch, right? And I have all the grow bags here, and we have all the plants, berry bushes here, and these short rows, and herbs and flowers. And then I removed this section of fencing here so that you could just walk into the big bed, which is great. It makes a lot more sense. That way I have two entrances that I can get to the whole garden, and this view. I mean, I don't know if this camera will capture it, but to me this is absolutely beautiful. This is everything I imagined it to be when I was out here tilling and digging and had no idea what I was doing, trying to make rows and trying to amend the soil so that I could grow stuff. I mean, this is what I imagined it would be. And I came out here after the 2 weeks of rain, and everything had just like basically doubled in size. And I looked over this garden and it brought me to tears because it was just so beautiful and all the work I put into it. And it's hard to explain if you're not into growing things, if you're not into plants, if you're not into growing food, then you kind of look at this and probably say, why would you do all that work when you can buy this stuff from the store? But there's a great joy for me in growing my own food, being able to feed myself and nurturing these seeds. It's amazing to me that these tiny, tiny seeds, some of them are so tiny you can barely see them, can turn into these huge, majestic plants. And it's all inside of them. All you need to do is give them the right environment, a little help along the way, protection from pests, and they will reward you with beauty, amazing beauty. So yeah, this this is what all of this was for, you know. So this first row is corn, and one of my friends said it needs to be knee-high by the 4th of July. So that it is. So I planted it against this fence to give it some support, because I've heard that corn stalks, not only do they get very tall, but they can flop over, especially with the wind. So if need be, I can come through this row and put some stakes and some twine up to hold it over in the row where it needs to be. So I planted sunflowers down this row. They're getting pretty tall. I did have a problem with pests over here eating the leaves of my sunflowers and my beans, but they're mostly under control. Here we have cucumbers growing up this little trellis fence. I got some marigolds, lots of bush beans through there. I'm sure I planted tons of beans, but they didn't all necessarily come up. Let's see. I do not know what this is. Let me take a picture of it. I'll use that beautiful app of mine and see if it's actually a plant that I want. No, it is not. It says it's a nightshade. I don't know what that is. A black nightshade. Okay, that has come out. You know, one of the things I use as a clue, just eyeballing it, is when bugs seem like they're eating the leaves, it seems like to me that's a actual plant. And bugs are eating these leaves. You see the little holes, but apparently it's not good. It's a nightshade. I do not want that. So that has to come out. About this, let's try this one. Let's hope that's not just a weed too. Yeah, it says nightshade. It just says nightshade. I do not know what I know that the nightshade family, there's like eggplants and stuff like that. But a plant just being, it says deadly nightshade. Oh my god. Whatever it is, it's not good. It's not good. Those have to come out. I don't know how they got here. A lot of this stuff, I have no idea how it got in my yard. It was never here before. I don't know if it's birds or what. Anywho, I do know beans when I see them. Those are bean plants. So I got several of those, and the sunflowers, of course, which are getting huge. More beans. I pulled out all of the peas, and under there I just planted some flowers. I planted morning glories because they are vining flowers, and so hopefully I can get those to grow up the little trellises I have here. I just took a picture of this, and it says it's spearmint, which is weird because I didn't plant any mint anywhere over here. And those are some gigantic leaves. I don't think that's mint. I think that one's an error. I got more pot marigold back here. Morning glories. I think those are the morning glories, actually, that is identifying as spearmint. Yeah, I think that's what that is, because I planted those a couple of weeks ago, seeds. And then sunflowers. This, I believe, is a lion's ear. I got lion's ear everywhere. A ton of that I'm going to be harvesting. That's another medicinal herb. Okay, I got more squash back here. More beans, sunflowers. That actually looks like my pot marigold, but they don't usually get that tall, so I'm not sure. Let me take a picture of that. And I will tell you what it is. That's a weed. Ragweed. Oh no. That has to come out. Out, out, out. No. You see why this app is so helpful? Because without it, I'd be growing all kinds of crazy stuff. This is a bean plant. Oh, that one's tall. It seems like, you know, the stuff going towards the back got taller. Even with the corn, the stalks here on the back half are taller than the front, which is interesting because I think there's more sun on the front of the row, but yet these are taller, and it's the same soil. So I got a couple of tomato plants back here because I had extras and threw them in. I got some flowers. Looks like zinnias. I do know those now. Yep, zinnias. I got going. Under each of the trellises that I have, will have either squash or cucumbers because or melons, because I wanted them to grow up these things and over. Here's more leafy greens, some kind of either collard or kale. There are lots of kale leaves that are not curly that actually look like collards. Same with mustards, so it can get confusing. Like I said, a lot of the signs I had got faded by the sun. And then also with the leafy greens, I think I don't identify each variety that I put down because I had so many. So what I did was just put a general sign, like I said, mustards or collards. And so there could be 5 different kinds of collards in there. And then the seeds seem to move with the wind or whatever. They move all over the place. So stuff ends up in places you didn't put it. So I got more of that lion's ear. I think that's celeriac, I think. That looks like barrage. I planted some, what is this called? The stuff I don't like, okra. I got lots of okra popping up, and I'm not sure I'm going to like it. I've never liked it before, but I figure I'd try it fresh. More leafy greens, collards or kales. Cauliflower. This is bizarre. I never thought the cauliflower would grow in the heat of summer. What? I planted this way back when it was cold. It didn't do anything. And now I have little cauliflower heads, and I was out here harvesting these greens. I thought they were just like collards or something, so I was harvesting, eating them on some of these, which are the ones that don't have cauliflowers and have just flowered instead. The greens were really good. I'll tell you that. Like all these leafy greens, from the brassicas to the just, kale, mustard, collard, turnips, all those, they kind of taste alike, really, to be honest with you. It can be hard to distinguish the difference. So there's some cauliflower coming up, and I'm going to harvest that because it is hot now, and it's already bolted, it looks like, but I'm going to harvest it and try to eat it so that I can, I might as well make use of it. Here we have more beans. Several of them, these grew very well. Calamine beans. I actually put a specific label on this one. Calamine beans, and what's up here? Bush. Bolado bush or something like that. So these are all bush beans, but there are 2 different kinds here. This is a Chinese mustard. I finally looked that up, and I have 2 of those, and I'm not going to eat them just because, one, they've bolted, and the leaves of these are, they kind of have a texture to them, like fuzzy, and that's not something I'd want to eat. Initially I thought it was stinging nettle because I thought I had planted some of that, but my picture says it's Chinese mustard green. There's another huge one here. Look at those flowers. That thing is like 2 feet taller than me, so it's like 8 feet tall, and the bees are all over it. I don't know if you can see that, but there are bees all over that thing, which is great. Bees are good. I keep telling myself, I'm scared of anything that stings, but I keep telling myself, bees are good, bees are good. So, and those are definitely bees because they're fuzzy. They're fuzzy and they're tiny. They're not huge like those wasps. Usually wasps are just huge and they look different. But anyway, so they are going to town on that plant. They really like it, so I'm not getting too close to that plant. I got some broccoli growing here. Again, I didn't even know this was broccoli. I thought it was just some leafy green. But at least that one's a broccoli. Looks like these are all the same. So broccoli there. Some more leafy something here. I don't think that this is, I can't imagine this is broccoli too. It might just be a leafy green. This is fennel. Fennel. Corn salad, which I never picked, which is bolting and flowering, but I'll probably just leave that there. Corn salad is a tiny leafy green like that you would use in salads, and it grows fast. Allegedly, mine didn't grow that fast, and it grows in cool weather, fairly cool weather. I'm just gonna leave it there because it's late in the season and it probably doesn't taste as good as it would if I had picked it early. Here are more flowers. Those are so pretty. What are those? Let me see what this flower is, and I will tell you. Cornflower. So bachelor's buttons are what these are. They're very pretty. Pink and white. They're tall. Along with more cosmos. The cosmos did well. I got what looks like Barrage. Is that Barrage? Nope. Yeah, it is white Barrage. I was gonna say, I'm usually pretty good at Barrage because it has these like fuzzy looking leaves. More Barrage. There's nothing in this spot, so I'll come out and plant something here eventually. More greens here. These were mustards and collards in this row. I've eaten a lot of greens out of here, and there are so many. Look at all this. So I had to come and harvest this because they're big. They're huge. Let me see. Alright, so this is my hand, which is a pretty medium-sized hand. It's not huge, my hand, but it's medium-sized. And the leaves are bigger than my hand. So they're pretty big. Some of these leaves, if we go back, and I'm not going back there, that's where the bees are, but they're as big as my head. So those are really good. I eat some of those. I think that's a kale. And then I got some more, I think that's kale back there. More marigolds. There's some nasturtiums thrown in there. I'll go around to the other row because I'm not going near that that big yellow thing of bees. So let me see if I can go over here to show you what's in this back row, back of this row. Okay, there we go. All right, so that is beautiful. Look at this. I've eaten a lot of that and it just keeps getting taller. I got some more beans thrown in there. Look at these beautiful cabbages. Oh my God. That thing is huge. I can't even describe to you how huge it is. If I measured it across, that is probably 2.5 feet across. That's how big that is. So I want to harvest those because those are cabbages and it's hot. They don't do well in hot weather. I got a lot of flowers thrown in here. I cannot remember what those are. Are they zinnias? They may be zinnias. I got some big cabbages over there. They're regular cabbages like you see at the grocery store. Look how huge they are. Again, they're like 2 feet across. So I want to harvest those. I got more squash and melons growing up my little trellises. There's a couple of tomato plants actually back there. And I can't zoom because I got one hand here. One hand has my phone. The other hand has the camera. There's more squash and melons. There are little signs stuck down in the ground, so I can't see them to tell you what is what. But I know I planted not only squash back here, winter squash, but also melons, lots of sweet melons. Kind of like more of along the lines of honeydew, because I don't like cantaloupe, so I did not plant anything that was like cantaloupe. So they're all more white fleshed and watermelons. But the watermelons I planted were unique. I mean, there is one with orange flesh, there's one with yellow flesh, there's one with white flesh, I believe. So I'm not sure that everything came up that I planted, but some things definitely came up and they're huge. This thing here, I don't know what this is. This can't be squash. The leaves, like the leaf is bigger than my head. That's about 1.5 feet across, that leaf. So I think that would be a melon, maybe. And then, of course, all my tomatoes. And this row are all the like full-size determinate tomatoes. So there's just a ton of different varieties. There's probably 2 of each variety that I planted. Over here are all the cherry tomatoes in this row, and they are shorter and bushier, I noticed, than the full-size tomatoes. But they're all spilling over. They're huge. And I tell you, this black cover, it is not as attractive as, like, you look over there and you see the mulch and the dirt, and that looks so, you know, it looks like a garden. This looks more industrial, but I'm telling you, I have, as of yet, not had any real pest problems with my tomatoes and squash. And part of that, I think, is because of this fabric. I think it keeps all the things that live in the soil or feed off the soil, all those bugs, it keeps them away. They can't get to the plants. So that is working well. And then the system I use, I probably didn't do it right. First time ever doing it. And I don't know that I like it because the plants are so bushy, it really doesn't seem to work. This seems like it would be more helpful. It's called like the basket weave or something. It seems like it would be more helpful if you had just maybe an indeterminate tomato or something and you pruned it down to one stem. when you have something that's bushy, and I'm not pruning any of mine because these are all the tomatoes I have. I have a few thrown in on my green stalk, but I don't have a ton of tomatoes. So I'm not pruning anything down. And they're just bushy. This twine wrapped around posts isn't really holding them the way I thought it would. So next year I will probably be using my something else, maybe tomato cages. I have a lot of tomato cages and pepper cages. I just didn't put them in because I wanted to try this system. So we'll see. I mean, the cages take up more space, but at the same time, I'm only doing 2 plants in each row. Each row is 3 feet across, so I think I could fit 2 tomato cages side by side. And then the rest of this, which is growing very slowly, so I hope I can get something. The rest of these 2 rows is all peppers and eggplants. Mostly peppers because I'm not a huge eggplant fan. I like it okay. But as you can see, they're so tiny. They are growing like molasses, man. I do not know what their problem is, but they don't seem to want to grow. There are even a couple of holes where there's nothing. It's just they died off there. For example, there's a couple, 3, 4 holes in the back with nothing. But the ones that did grow, they look healthy. It's just that they're so small and they're growing so slowly that I don't know that I will get anything out of them before the season is done. But we can only hope, you know, we'll try. Give them some fertilizer and see if that helps. But basically that is the tour of the berry bed in the big fields, which probably is an hour-long video. Try to edit it down a bit. But yeah, this is fantastic. It pretty much is everything I thought it would be. I've had some fails, but that happens with gardening. And this is my first year, so I'm really learning a lot as I go through this process. And I'm glad I could share this with you. I shall see you in the next video. Bye-bye.